Okay, how do you do all the things you do?
Well, this helps. This coffee helps. That's one thing. What can I say? I like to do a lot of different things. I like a lot of variety.
But you have had a random career. When you say that, there's no telling where you show up.
Exactly. Well, I always liked when I was a kid, the variety pack of cereals, the 6 little boxes.
Oh, yeah, I remember them.
I didn't like the big box, so I kind of like a little, little Sugar Smacks, a little Frosted Flakes, a little Fruit Loops.
Is your career now taking shape with the publication of this incredible book?
Well, I hope so.
It's an incredible book.
Well, let me tell you something. One of the first essays I wrote in there was inspired by you, the one on Elizabeth Taylor, because one of the greatest hours of television ever is one of the interviews you did with Dame Elizabeth Taylor. I'm telling you, it was an hour-long tour through her life. I mean, I had to lie down at the end of it because it left me so breathless. And so I have a section of the book. This is all my favorite dead people and things that I believe deserve to be remembered and memorialized. And I include her in a section called Celebrities Who Put Their Butts on the Line.
In the book?
Yeah, I reference you a lot in that chapter. You're not in the book as in, like, thank God you're not in the book, right? But you're referenced in the book.
I almost was in the book this past March.
I'm so glad that you're not.
How did you get the idea to do obits?
My father always loved the obits. He always said it was his favorite section of the newspaper. And because he had a sense of the romance of life. And a good obituary is really about someone's life. It's not about their death. And my father was a very optimistic person, but I think he loved kind of the sweep of reading someone's story. And when they're well written, they kind of feel like a movie preview for like an Oscar-winning biopic. It sort of has that sense of the highs, the lows, and it's the most purely narrative form of journalism.
Obituary writers are a specialty too, aren't they?
I was just at ObitCon. I'm sorry you weren't there, but it was a convention of obituary writers in Washington, D.C., and they're really interesting people. It's a great job because you're writing about sports, entertainment, politics. It depends who dies.
On television, we pre-tape obits when guys get old or women get old. I'm sure they've got my obit done already.
Yeah.
At CNN or wherever.
They're going to have to keep refreshing it. Well.
Okay.
They're going to include this now.
Do newspaper obits get pre-written too?
Yeah, advance obits are a big part of what they do, in part because they have to fact check a lot of it. And you can't really rely on calling friends and family and getting the facts. I mean, certainly in a moment of grief. So for big public figures at the New York Times, for instance, there's a point at which they will start writing advance obits.
As usual with things dealing with Mo Rocca, I can't decide if this book is serious or funny, or is it intended to bring a smile? What is an obituary?
An obituary is an appreciation for someone or something that didn't get the send-off it deserved and isn't remembered in a way that I think the person should be remembered. So, for instance, and I want to know if you interviewed her, Marlena Dietrich is in there.
Never met her.
Never met her. I know you interviewed Maria Riva, her daughter.
Yes.
But Marlena Dietrich, as you know, was not only a screen goddess, she was also a great American patriot during World War II. She spent 18 months on the front lines in North Africa. Right, and she had a plan she told Douglas Fairbanks Jr. about, that she wanted to seduce Hitler and kill him with a poison hairpin, which she would have done had she had an opportunity. But I wanted people to remember that half of her, that she had really done something very brave.
What went into this book, I'm trying to decide, because it's comedic as well.
Yeah, I want a balance of protein and carbs, and I'm being serious here. I like when things are kind of have a zip and a rush, but then you want some substance. So there are chapters that are more substantive, followed by, so for instance, the chapter on Sammy Davis Jr., which is kind of my love letter to him and his extraordinary life, is followed by a collection of other famous people with one eye. Just to keep it a little quirky. Like, did you ever interview Wiley Post? No, he way preceded you. Sorry. Wiley
Post went up with, who was it?
With Will Rogers, and went down with Will Rogers.
I must say it's an extraordinary book.
Oh, great.
Obviously the publisher, who's the publisher?
Simon & Schuster.
Put a lot into it.
Yeah, they
This
do.
is an expensive book to do. I know about books.
It is expensive, and if you feel the front of it, it kind of feels the texture. It feels a little bit like a tombstone, and and the letters of Mobituary they're debossed like kind of an etching, so you can actually feel them.
I love the part of people who died the same day,
Isn't it
and
crazy?
how the one death overshadowed the other.
Isn't it
Michael
crazy?
Jackson
and Farrah Fawcett.
Farrah Fawcett.
Right. Do you remember when Jim Henson and Sammy Davis Jr. died on the same day? So much talent.
Henson of a strange virus.
Yes, he did. That's right. And so that was unexpected. Sammy had been sick for a while. Did you ever interview Sammy Davis Jr.?
5 times.
Yeah, amazing, right? Why has there not been a big biopic of Sammy Davis Jr.?
Because first, who would play him?
Exactly. Yep.
Who could do that, dancing and juggling?
Nobody. Quintuple threat: singer, dancer, actor, impressionist, and a gun spinner.
When he died, Sinatra told me, I hate to name drop.
Do it. Drop them all
At
over.
his bedside, he weighed like 80 pounds. Sad.
Kim Novak went to see him in the hospital. Yeah, but it's amazing. 80 pounds. It's terrible. Yeah, he was. I wanted to write about him because I think he represents also the passing of a kind of entertainment. The entertainer who could do it all, and could elevate material that wasn't great.
What kind of research went into this? You go back to 1830, 2011.
Yeah.
Where does this come from? How long did it take to do this book?
A couple of years, and but it's been fun, and I've been doing a podcast along with it. Have an episode out now about Billy Carter. Remember Bill? Did you ever interview Billy Carter?
I interviewed Billy Carter.
Yeah, a smart guy.
You go to 3000 BC.
Yes, I wanted to talk about the death of dragons because for millennia, well, no, but this is serious. For millennia, people believed that dragons were real, and then a Swedish botanist came along in 1735, a guy named Carl Linnaeus, and he said they're not real. He went to an exhibit in Europe to look at a 7-headed hydra, and everyone in Europe thought it was real. And he said, no, it's a bunch of snake skins sewn together with a weasel skull and some monkey guts stuffed in there, and it's not real. And I thought that was interesting, so I wanted to commemorate the death of the belief in dragons.
In your research, were you surprised by some of the things you learned?
Yeah, I was surprised. I mean, this is going to sound a little trite, but I was surprised at, I think we tend to look at the past as being backward. And people are complicated, and there were, even in the darkest periods, there are good people, and there's goodness in all sorts of people. So, and I wanted to be generous in talking about the past. I think an obituary is the one place left in journalism where you cut people slack, and I think that's important.
All right, Mo, let's talk a little about you.
Okay.
What is a humorist?
I don't know if I even came up with that title for myself. People are always asking me, what are you? And I have to, and it's a little bit of a vexing question.
Vexing?
Yeah.
Go ahead, keep talking, Mo.
Well, because I'm interested in what I'm interested in. And this book is a reflection of that I want to pursue things that I'm interested in. And I also think that if you're interested in something and you execute it well, you can get people who didn't think they'd ever be interested in it.
Are you interested in death?
No, I'm not interested. And this book isn't about death. And obituaries really aren't about death. I'm not even really interested in how people die. I mean, things like dying the same day, I think, are sort of fascinating.
Adams and Jefferson.
50th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence, and what we think were Adams's last words.
Jefferson lives.
Yeah, and Sammy Davis Jr.'s last words were Kermit lives.
Really?
No, because Jim Henson died on the same day. All right.
You work with Jon Stewart.
I did. Yeah.
What's Jon doing?
He's touring, I think, with Dave Chappelle.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Did you like working with him?
I did like working with him. I learned a lot. It was, you know that comedy shows are, it's not like everyone's laughing all the time. I mean, it's hard work, especially a show that's a daily show that, has to address current events. So it was hard work.
How good a cook are you?
How good a cook? I'm not a good cook at all. I had a cooking show.
So what are you doing on the cooking channel?
Well, I wanted to hang out with grandparents, with grandmothers and grandfathers, and have them teach me how to cook, but really tell me their life story. What you've done for your career, hearing people's life stories.
Yeah, love them.
Did you ever interview Satchel Paige?
Sure did. I did.
And, okay, because he's in the book.
Yeah, I haven't read the whole book yet.
Well, the Satchel Paige chapter is really good.
Okay, what do you make of Donald Trump?
As a citizen, I should be watching the hearings, and I will do that. I will do that. What I can't see, I will read about. I hope that our democracy survives this. Is our democracy fragile? I got to ask David McCullough and Doris Kearns Goodwin this the other day, and they both agreed that it's both strong but also fragile. It's so it's inconclusive, I guess.
Hanging by a thread? No.
I don't know. It's definitely going through the biggest stress test that it has gone through in many generations.
Never miss a beat. Subscribe to Larry King Now and watch new episodes every day.